This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, leading the league in podcasting entertainment.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. This is the Fast Break Podcast. I'm your host, Sean Anderson. Alongside me, as always, is Ricky Widmer.
What's up, guys?
And Dave Oster.
Hey, everybody.
We're back to the old setup. The green screen is broken. Well, Ricky wants me to clarify. The bars on the green screen are broken. That's why Brandon was standing during his new video.
Actually, the wall that you guys usually do, there's like a little out indent. We taped it to the wall.
Oh, nice.
It was I didn't want to do it for everything, but it kind of was okay.
It's broken, and I think we got a comment anyways on our Fast Break comments that they wanted to go back to the old setup with Ricky. So, boom, we got it. Old setup with Ricky. It's back today on the Fast Break Podcast. Our topics today, we are talking the NBA draft. Are the Bulls screwing up their tank? And we're going to be talking about that.
Yes, they are.
8-1 in their past 9 games. They're looking like they're at an absolute fire. We're talking about should the Celtics trade for Anthony Davis as well? Is it substance? Is there something actually there, or is it just rumors flying around? And then we're going to wrap it up with some Isaiah Thomas talk, since he is coming back. Had the fantastic practice that he got sent down to
one day in the D League. Not
yeah.
even a full day, actually. It was
5 hours.
5 hours.
Yeah.
Best practice ever.
So we'll be talking about that on the podcast, but before we jump into it, check out patreon.com/mostvaluablepodcast if you want to be on a podcast. We also have some cool other tiers. You guys just had Pat on the onside kick talking about John Fox. We always love having Christian, Pat, and our buddy Jake on the podcast. So if you want to check it out, go to patreon.com/mostvaluablepodcast. Also, if you're listening on iTunes, rate us 5 stars, the Fast Break Podcast, the Primetime Podcast, the Rick and Johnny Podcast, and the Onside Kick. It means a ton to us. So if you want to do that and you have the opportunity, please do so. And finally, if you want a Most Valuable Podcast shirt, check the description box because there's instructions down there. So if you want a t-shirt, you want to rep some Most Valuable Podcast gear, check it out in the description below. But boys, we are going to jump into some damp dudes, some soggy shooter, some wet boys today. Ricky, your second wet boy.
My
of
second
all time.
one. And before I give mine, I want to give an honorable mention. I almost had Lonzo Ball here, but I couldn't because there is a Laker that is doing a lot better, and that's Kyle Kuzma. Kuzma, not only the 38-point game he had against the Rockets, but over 25 points a game, almost 7 rebounds. And when you've got 61% from the field and over 50 from 3, how are you not a moist man, a damp dude, a wet boy?
If Lonzo ever has a day where he has 2 near triple doubles,
I will be the only one.
Yeah,
I feel like I will be the only one to make him a wet boy.
Yeah, because you're the only one that actually likes him.
Yeah,
he's been playing better.
Yeah.
I'll give him credit. He's a good defender, but you're the only. You want to shoehorn him in.
I do.
If you have the chance.
Every show.
If there's 1 week where the Lakers play 3 games and everyone else plays 1 game, if that's possible, probably not. Lonzo's definitely going to be that wet boy.
3 other teams would have to play, unless they're the only games they played were against the Lakers.
I don't know. Anyway,
Scheduling nightmare.
If that ever happens, though, Ricky's going to shoehorn Lonzo Ball into a wet boy. But Dave, who's your wet boy of the week?
My wet boy of the week was a top draft pick many people forgot about, but he is the one and only Be Easy. Lighting it up for New York, coming in because Porzingis needs some time off. He needs to pull his shit back together. So they're like, you know what? We're going to trust the profession on this one. Be easy.
Got to stop being Kobe out there.
Going to go out there and drop 28.3 points per game, 8.7 boards, over a block a game, shooting 56% overall. And I think only about 7 shots from 3, but 71% from those 7 shots. You can't argue with those numbers.
He's been ridiculous.
Dominant.
Yeah, and he had a crazy night in the Garden against the Celtics last night.
That was an amazing game for him.
Saving KP, like you said. My wet boy of the week is DeMar DeRozan. Just dropped a career high with 45 points, or a season high. I think it's one of them this year. Dropping 45 points against Philly last night. Raptors have won 5 straight. In those last 3 games, at least, he's dropped 31.3 points, 5.3 assists. He's been a better passer this year, and also he's been lighting it up from 3, which we're not used to.
He can magically shoot from 3 this year. What the hell happened?
64.3% in the last 3 games. He had a career high 6 threes in last game against Philly, and the Raptors are on fire. They've been winning.
Somebody told him he can stand behind that line on the ground, and he gets an extra point. And he didn't know that until this year.
He thought we were playing old rules before we got that line.
Must
it's just
be.
Everything's a 2.
And I think they're 11-1 in their past 12 games, so they've been absolutely
on
fire.
a bit of a heater.
And DeMar DeRozan has been on a bit of a heater as well. But those are our wet boys of the week. If you have some wet boys, leave them down in the comments below. We love listening to you guys' wet boys. I think they're all first-time wet boys as well. I think Beasley's making his first time. I think it's the first Raptor we've ever had on the wet boys.
In my head, I
first
was
Laker, I think too.
In my head, I was like, no, wait, he's not the first Raptor. But then I remembered the 1 week you were almost sick. I almost made an appearance Kyle Lowry would have been the first Raptor.
First Laker, too. I know you're trying to shoehorn
Is
Lonzo
he?
in. Yeah,
Is
first
he?
Laker.
Oh.
Right? Because I don't think we had,
I don't remember
I don't think there's
anymore.
any other Laker that's
No, I
important.
think you might be right. First Laker.
Because there's Lonzo, Kyle Kuzma, Julius
B.I.
Randle's not
I know
not
you
one of
guys
them.
have had Porzingis as a
Yes,
wet boy.
Porzingis is a 2-time wet boy.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I know Kyle Lowry or none of the other Raptors have been a wet boy. But anyways, let's move on now into our first topic of the podcast. And since Ricky is on the podcast,
Only
since
the Bulls.
this is going to be
Only
pretty
the
much a
Bulls.
Christmas
Chicago
podcast,
Bulls.
we got to
Yeah.
give him a present.
Only the
We're talking about the Chicago Bulls and the NBA draft. And we're pretty much talking about, you're throwing me off. We're talking about, do
You don't
the
like my
Bulls,
succulent draft move? Like,
Wow.
I'm just dancing over here, Sean.
you guys wanted them back. I'm blaming you.
Never did I want to hear him say that word.
The topic today is, do the Bulls need a top 5 pick in the NBA draft this year? Obviously, right now, 7-3 in their past 10 games. They've been on fire, had that 7-game win streak. Dave and I talked about Nico being hot as hell. He was a wet boy for us in the last week.
That was the beginning of the streak.
Yes, so, I mean, they've been absolutely on, or was it last week? 2 weeks ago. I think it was 2 weeks
last
ago.
week.
That was last week.
It was one of them.
Just last week.
But Bulls are on absolute fire right now. Now they're 4th in the tankathon standings, and they've been falling quickly and rapidly. And Dave pointed out, right now they're only 2 games behind the Los Angeles Lakers, and they could be 11th if they win pretty much 2 more games and keep going on this streak. So right now the Bulls are kind of taking them outside of that
watch
idea,
ourselves.
that tank, and right now they're pushing away from that number 1 pick. So looking at the Bulls roster, Zach LaVine coming back in 2 to 3 weeks, seeing the way that Chris Dunn's been playing, seeing Bobby Portis and Nico Mirotic playing out there, do we feel like the Bulls need a top 5 pick exactly?
There's one thing the Bulls need, and that's to get rid of Fred Hoiberg and bring in the tank commander, Byron Scott. We are
God.
bringing the tank commander so that we can get things back on track. But the thing looking at it with the Bulls is I just pulled up their contracts for at the end of the year. The only guys we're going to lose is basically like Quincy Poindexter. Like LaVine's a restricted free agent, but we're going to obviously bring him back.
Barring
They'll
some
probably
strange injury.
take the club option on Nico, so we're getting everyone back. So it kind of begs the question of, would this pick just be luxury for the Bulls, where it's like, yeah, we'll take any position, any kind of best available player that's right there, because we technically have a starter for every
Don't
position.
have a small forward. What are you talking about? What are you talking
we could fit someone
Zip
in
God
there.
is not our starter.
We could put Zip God in there. We
No.
could also put Valentine there. What I'm saying
Valentine
is,
performing well
we've
as a
got
role player.
we've got guys that
role
could
player.
fit there. However, then you're saying what? The guy that you're looking at is Miles Bridges is the guy that we'd look for.
Michael Porter Jr. perhaps.
I mean, if he falls due to his injury. I mean, looking at it right
Yeah.
now and looking at some big boards, obviously Ayton's probably gone. I would probably say Ayton, Bagley, Doncic are
Our
probably
1, 2, 3 lock,
Yeah, probably
yeah.
probably at least top 3 locks. Then Porter, if he doesn't really recover from his injury, he's probably going to fall to around that 4 where you guys currently are. 5, 6. You have Porter, small forward. You have Bamba, who's a center. Really, you could draft a center. I mean,
Yeah.
with Rolo probably not being a for-sure round. He's playing
and it all
great.
depends on
but
what
you don't
we
know
do at the trade deadline
Yeah.
too. But the Bulls don't make moves at the trade deadline, so I don't expect it.
Again, you don't know exactly what's going to happen with Rolo, and I don't think Rolo's the long-term answer. You get Bamba, who could be a rim protector down there. He can be a long-term answer there. Trae Young, obviously, we mentioned Chris Dunn's playing out of his mind. You don't really need a point guard. But then again, I mean, Zach LaVine been injured. Maybe you could, possibly think about some moves where I don't know. You exactly look. Trae Young's a possibility. I just want to throw that out there.
It's an upgrade over
Jaren Jackson's
Yeah.
6'11", 240. He's a big kid, so possibly if you felt like you could move him to the center, you could put him there. I mean, there's definitely options out there. Miles Bridges, like you mentioned, Kevin Knox is out there. So there is a ton of options, at least, that could fit for the Chicago Bulls, for that 3 position, because that's pretty much the position of clear need.
Yeah, and that's the thing I just wanted to throw out with Dave bringing that up. If I'm looking, I'm using Tankathon's mock draft as the base.
I don't know why.
If you're saying we need a small forward, then your answer to this question is yes, we need a top 5, because Michael Porter's at 4, Miles Bridges is at number 5.
Where it stands
However,
right now,
however, if you're looking, you're saying, you know what? We could grab a Kevin Knox. We can go out there and grab a Mikal Bridges. Then you might be sitting there going, do we really need the top 5 pick? I know the NBA is a lottery, so it's
the
like
talent difference between a top 5 pick and a 10 to 14 is there's a difference. There's a hit chance that drops.
It all depends.
But there's also the thing with
Steph Curry was a
no,
7.
I'm saying there's
I know
a hit
he's an
chance. Like the
anomaly.
percentage of people who succeed at a high level go down as you go further in the draft.
Yes.
It's just a standard thing.
Yes and no. I mean, like...
Yeah, the numbers
is it skill coming out or is it potential? Like the potential skill that they're growing into. I mean, like obviously it differs year from year.
112% potential.
But that's the thing is that it doesn't mean it's like a skill difference. I mean, it just means that like you're going to grow into skill.
The amount of people who've hit at like number 1, number 2, number 3, like it's yes, you'll have the outliers, you'll have the Giannis's, you'll have the guys who come in late, like Jimmy Butler. But you know, those are much less often to happen than the for sure guys who occasionally don't happen for you.
Well, and
so
right now there's for sure guys is what you're saying.
Yeah.
At least in the top 3 with Ayton, Bagley, and Doncic right now.
Absolutely.
At least with those guys. And then Porter, I feel like you'd still say he's a for sure thing, but the big question obviously is still that injury.
Yep.
So, I mean, I think right now, I think the Bulls are screwing themselves. And that's the one thing that I wanted to get to is because obviously, you know, right now it's early on in the season still, I think, 30 games into the season, something like that. Just 7-23. The Bulls are currently right now. It's not like it's a crazy good record or that. No, 10. The Hawks are sorry. Yeah. The Hawks are 7-23. That's what they're the number 1 team right now. Bulls are 10-20 right now. So obviously they're not even too far away from being the number 1 team again if they're able to lose some more games. And exactly is the direction always been stated that this is the tank for the Bulls? I mean, it wasn't like this was like every fan. Idea was this is going to be the tank year for the Bulls. This is going to be the year that we put everything to just rebuild, completely bring up. We got rid of Jimmy. D Rose is gone. All these players from the past, Noah, all these guys are gone. We have to get young players in. How are you going to do that? You're going to get a top pick. So I think you kind of need a number 1 pick right there. I spit on the fucking mic. I think you kind of need a top pick right now. I think you probably should go for a top 5 pick. I mean, you don't really need it because, again, we look at the 3 players that you have right now, Chris Dunn, Zach LaVine, Laurie. Those guys are for sure probably going to be around here for the next 3 to 4 years, 5 years. We don't know exactly with Bobby. We don't know with Nico. Nico might be traded in the next month or so, 2 months with the way he's been playing. So I think looking at all of it, I think you need it just to really kind of solidify this rebuild because, Chris Dunn's been playing great and he was a top 5 pick. But even that first year, he was a little iffy, and he's having a great couple of games right now. But again, we're only 30 games into the season. We don't know if this is the for sure
playing
thing.
With confidence of a much better player.
Exactly. And what if he's just playing with confidence right now, and that's not the actual skill? Yeah. And what if he finally goes up against better players, and it's just kind of just destroyed? So I feel like you kind of need it to solidify a for sure building block because you don't know exactly what Zach LaVine's going to bring. Chris Dunn's been good so far. Laurie's been good so far, but I don't look at any of those guys as a number 1 piece for a franchise.
No, I think that's a fair assumption to make. And my concern is, are we going to play ourselves out of that? Because, like you said, they're playing so well. And this is without having LaVine, who was the centerpiece of that trade for Jimmy. So you got to wonder, are we going to have to start, bringing in Campaign to play point guard for us again? Bring us back down to earth. That might be a better option. Because, like you said, if we don't get somebody in like a top 5, top 6 lottery pick here, I don't know if we're going to see that spot again. This opportunity with this much talent, how loaded this draft is. I know the next year's draft does have 3 big guys in there who everybody loves, but right now, this is a can't-miss chunk of talent that you don't want to be just outside looking in on.
But the one thing, too, we said this about last year. I mean, last year was a whole class, too, that were this is a ton of players.
Last year was the deepest draft
could change.
We've seen.
I mean, we were always talking about how deep this draft was last year. I mean, we look at players like Kyle Kuzma. Kyle Kuzma went 27. He's probably the best player right now. And everyone, I don't think he was on my first-round mock draft last year. I mean, that's things where that draft was so deep, and we're seeing guys make immediate impacts now. Where the year prior, Malcolm Brogdon was the best guy to come out at least right away. Obviously, Brandon Ingram's playing well now. Ben Simmons obviously is fantastic.
Who knew 19-year-olds don't really compete at a high level versus grown-ass men?
Exactly. So we don't know what the talent pool is going to bring next year. Right. There's probably going to be some great player
RJ,
out there.
Ball.
Yeah.
I mean, that's.
But we don't know exactly what's going to be out there. So at least looking at it, I feel like you can't really miss out on the crop just looking for the next. It's kind of like the Bears last year with Trubisky. Yes, there was Darnold. Yes, there was Rosen. But you don't know what's going to happen next year. You have a guy who you feel like is going to be your franchise now. Go out and get him.
Well, and that's the thing that I think of is I'm kind of on the other side of the Bulls don't need. I wouldn't be upset if we didn't have a top 5 pick. Now, if we didn't have a top 10 pick, that's a different story. If we fell and started winning and competed.
If Zach LaVine comes back.
If you pulled kind of what the Mavericks were doing last year before they had to pull back the tank again.
Or we pull what the Heat did.
I know that each draft is different, and it's not like just because we get one guy,
right,
he's going to change the franchise.
Sort of
unless it's like, unless it's like LeBron James at number 1, or like when you got Anthony Davis, like those were number 1s where it's like
change a franchise.
But those were
franchise still sucks.
Those were number 1s where it's like, okay, that's the number 1. Like right now,
you can say that with Cat.
Luka's the number 1, but there are some people that are like, no, you've got Ayton who should be the number 1. You got Bagley who should be the number 1. And the thing I look with this Bulls team is, you mentioned, okay, small forward might be the one position if we're going to go out and draft. But let's say, and I'm using Tankathon again, let's say they fall to 9 where they got Trae Young. We can take Trae Young and then never have to use campaign again.
You're not using campaign, though.
I know, but like...
Come on, Chris Dunn's...
We could just cut him completely and have Trae Young be the backup to Chris Dunn. Or what if Chris Dunn...
Campaign's not even a backup
right
now.
Or what if it happens to where you're right, where Chris Dunn, this is just him playing hot right now this year, and then next year he's not the same. Oh, but Trae Young then develops in front of him and then becomes the starter to where I feel like we can get somebody, even through 5 through 10, that could... be beneficial to us. It's just, do you have the faith in Bulls management, Gar Forman, Paxton, to go out and get the guy that'll fit us?
I think with the Bulls, with how much youth there is on that team, like we mentioned, obviously Laurie, obviously Levine, Chris Dunn, Portis is still young. It was 2 years ago they drafted him. Mirotic is still fairly young at these 27, 28. You still look at this team. There's still some... David Nwaba is pretty young as well. I mean, there's some young players still on this team. I feel like you can kind of see these positions filling out. You're not going to draft a power forward because, Laurie right now is your guy. Chris Dunn and Zach LaVine were centerpieces of that Jimmy trade. And they were, so far Chris Dunn's been playing well so far. And even if he is, your 4th or 5th option, if he's doing, a lot less than what he's doing right now, but still being able to play great defense, which he's probably still going to be able to do for the next 10 years of his career, and still able to be a nice passer, I think he's still your for sure point guard. And if Zach LaVine comes out and scores 20 like he was able to do with Minnesota, I think you got a for sure shooting guard. So I feel like you got to at least go away from at least potential there and go for a need, and that need's going to be at center, and that need's going to be at small forward. I feel like it's going to be more on position, so you don't really have to worry about getting the right guy. You just have to worry about making sure the positions are right for the Chicago Bulls, and I feel like Gar Pax can probably do
no
that.
longer best available, now it's best fit.
Well, best available for best fit.
And that's why this all depends on if he falls, or like right now he's in the top 5. That's why if we're in the top 5, I wouldn't be upset if we went with Michael Porter, depending, even if, let's say...
You shouldn't be.
Let's say he doesn't play his first full year, because I look at the 76ers and I go, Ben Simmons didn't play his full year. Fultz hasn't been...
he's going to be back. He's going to play.
But what I'm saying
is
if
play his first year in the NBA.
I'm saying if he doesn't, I wouldn't be upset, because the Sixers are fine, and they've had basically 3 of their prospects miss most of their first year. And then it's like, also, you look at the trade for Zach LaVine, we traded knowing he's not going to be ready day 1.
Yeah, but from what I understand is, at least with the back injury that he currently has, he will be back to at least try out for the Combine. So he will be ready to play in September or October, and he'll be ready to go during the summer league. So I don't think you have to worry about that with Portal. I don't think you're going to redshirt him. If maybe that injury persists, then you redshirt him.
I'm just saying,
but I don't think you have to worry about
what if? I'm playing the what if.
But now we're playing the game of let's go with Zach LaVine, who has an injury history. We're going to have Michael Porter with an injury history. Obviously you have to be concerned that your building blocks are now guys who could have relapses in those injuries and will be out again. So I think that kind of has to make you pause about Michael Porter. Yes, he could be a great player, but you have to wonder long-term health effects.
Yeah, let's do this just so we can kind of get more of a clear and concise, at least, idea of what we're talking about here, like where they will be picking. What do you think the Bulls will end up at? Where do you think the Bulls? Do you think the Bulls can continue this hot streak? Do you feel like the Bulls will, maybe push a little towards more 500? Do you feel like they're still going to be, this is just an amalgamy? This isn't going to be what the Bulls season is. It was just, a weird 8 games that they're, playing the Cavs stuff. They win 7. What are your thoughts at least on this? Is this just a hot team and this is just, kind of a fallacy, or do you feel like this is something that maybe can persist and this can be a team that gets closer to 500?
Can you make any more analogies before we talk, Sean? I'm just waiting.
Go.
The question comes down to, are we going to ship, Nico and Rolo? If we're going to ship those 2, we're going to lose more games. We're going to be in that top, 1 through probably 6 spots in the draft.
Do you think they should?
I think they should, because I think long term, you'll never get a better value for Nico. And Rolo is he's a good player, and he has a great motor, and that's valuable in the center position, especially in a league right now that needs it.
Yeah.
So I think both those guys have great value, and you should ship them for any talent, any future hopes that you can get, because you're all in on this youth movement, and those are the two of the oldest guys on the team. And yeah, Nico, we've seen this from him, is the thing that I keep going back to. I'm like, this is March Nico. This is when he feels like his best. I'm just like, why is it happening now? I don't understand. But you know what? I'm not going to question it, because January 15th is the day that he can be moved, and I'm watching that like a hawk. I'm hoping that we're going to make those moves. We're going to move Nico. We're going to move Rolo. We're going to let Zach LaVine take his time coming back, maybe put him on a minutes restriction so he doesn't, risk injury coming back too soon, doesn't overextend himself. And I want to watch this team grow over time. I don't want to watch them be the middle of the group. I'm going to be the NBA purgatory of a 35-40 win game team for the next 5 years. That's not what I want to watch out of this team.
That's what we're going to be, though.
But
you do know that,
if we make those trades,
and that's the thing,
we will set ourselves up to be a promising team for the future.
And I'm all with you. Do I want to see that happen? Yes. Do I want to see Rolo and Nico move? But what was it, 2 years ago? I remember having the discussion while I was teaching with my students. They go, hey, will we move Paul Gasol tomorrow? And I was like, yeah, you know what? We're going to get a deal done. I am not biting that hype. Nico will stay. Rolo will stay. They're not going to be moved because all that...
But that's different. Well, that team was closer to making the playoffs than a 10-20 Bulls team.
But still,
and that was something where they went out and got Paul Gasol.
This kind of...
got him as a free agent.
With Garpax and with Reinsdorf's, this is all of the same thing of, holy shit, we're winning games?
People are still showing up regardless.
We're gonna make money, but it's like we're winning games. We can make the playoffs with this team. They have that delusion in their head.
I feel like if they, I think everyone thinks. I don't know.
I don't think they get moved because of management.
I don't think this team is good at all. I think everyone agrees with that. I think this is just a weird.
They're playing above
8 games.
And I don't want people to get it twisted that Ricky thinks the Bulls are going to make the playoffs. I don't. I just think that they're not going to get moved because it's like, oh no, we're actually competing now. I can see this team 7 through 10.
I think Garpax. What do you mean 7 through 10?
It's like
in the draft.
7th pick to 10th pick in the draft at the end of the year.
7 through 10th in the Eastern Conference.
Blake gets us in.
7th pick to 10th pick.
No, I feel you're wrong.
Leaning more towards the I'm thinking the worst. But I can see 9-10. It's like fuck.
Okay, I think you're wrong with that for one reason. I think you're making the wrong assumption of Jerry, and I know I've made this assumption before, but at least looking at the White Sox and what they've done, I know it had to happen with the change of getting rid of Kenny Williams and bringing in Rick Hahn, and there wasn't really that change there in management, but I feel like management knows what they're getting with this team so far, and I feel like they feel like it's an amalgamy. Again, this is 9 games out of a 82-game season. They're playing fantastic basketball, and it was weird. It was really weird. Freaky Friday, pretty much. Two people switching bodies.
They didn't play the worst against the Cavs, even though they lost.
No, that's what I'm saying.
No,
the past 8 games, they looked good, and they took the Cavs team to fourth quarter. They're playing with confidence. I feel like the skill though is going to overtake them right now. I feel like teams are just kind of shocked right now. They're just not really sure what's going on, and I feel like Jerry, with what he's seen so far with the White Sox, this is something before with the White Sox too, where the White Sox would start off hot. We've seen past couple of years they had a couple good months, but the whole idea was then moving players away from the White Sox and getting value. And I feel like Jerry has that mindset of, we're still making money with the Bulls. People are still coming to see the Bulls. We have the brand. I feel like if people have the ability to come watch this team, like, hey, they're still a fun, exciting team. They're young. They're not that good, but they're still a fun, exciting team that maybe will win some games every now and then. You get to see Chris Dunn. You get to see Lauri Markkanen. You get to see Zach LaVine when he comes back. You're going to have people to be brought in, and getting rid of Rolo and getting rid of Nico isn't really going to affect those attendance stats. I feel like they're going to go away from them. If they feel like this team cannot win at all, they're going to go away from them. And I feel like it's pretty clear that this team cannot win, especially with the way that they started. I mean, this is a team, 8 games ago, only had 3 wins. I mean, this is not a good team. This is a team playing with confidence right now. They've been impressive, and it's been weird, but I feel like this team is going to be able to go away from that. And I feel like you're going to get the trades that Dave mentioned. You're going to get rid of Nico. You're going to get rid of Rolo. If anybody has any interest in anybody else that's not Lauri, Chris Dunn, or Zach LaVine, they're going to be moved as well. And I feel like Jerry and Garpax are kind of in the mindset of a rebuild, and you're going to get a team that's going to be in the top 5 of this NBA draft.
I hope you're right. I hope you're right. However, I look at the schedule. The next 3 are going to be most important because I go, yeah, we should lose maybe all 3 of these. And I know the Boston one is kind of because I don't think Kyrie played when we played him on December 11th. But we have beaten Milwaukee in this stretch. We've beaten the Knicks. So I'd be surprised I wouldn't be surprised if the Bulls win these next 3, even though I'd love us to go 0-3.
I doubt it. I think that you're not going to win all 3, and I think that again, this is a team that's playing with confidence right now. But I feel like especially going up against the Brad Stevens team, they have more skill and they're a better coach team, and they're going to be able to watch what's going on. They're going to be able to take away Chris Dunn's
if we can abuse them on the boards, and if we can
beat them
abuse their
108 to 85, and I know,
so
like I said, Kyrie didn't play.
I mean, the thing is you beat the Celtics because they don't have an elite defender at the 5. Like, Horford's been playing great, yes, but if you can abuse them at the 4 and the 5, and you can contain Kyrie a little bit, you're in good shape.
Laurie's also been hurt. Laurie's also been dealing with back injuries.
The thing is we have 3 power forwards who are all playing really well right now, and Rolo, who defensively has slipped a little, but offensively is doing quite well. Ugly, but well. So I think that we're always a good matchup against the Celtics. I don't expect blowouts, really, but I expect us to play everybody pretty close, which is what you want. It's what you want in a developing team. Lose close games. That's the goal. And I'm confused because now
we're winning those.
We're winning those games that we should be losing. So I think normalcy will set in. I think that we will make those trades. And I think that because of that, we're gonna end up getting someone maybe like Ayton, maybe like Porter in the 3-4 slot. I mean, worst case scenario, we fall back a little further, and maybe it's a Bridges, maybe it's a Knox. Who knows? But those are the kind of guys, we're looking to lock down. Yes, we're getting rid of Rolo, but immediately want to go get that center who can be a centerpiece in somebody like Ayton, who is a monster, or somebody like Bamba, who is a defender, who can lock down the 5 for us.
Maybe it's just me. I would rather see this team draft a small forward like Porter or Bridges than a big man.
At least right now, let's before I go in, and I'll set a spot where they're picking, and then I'll tell you who's off the board and who they're going to take. All right, that's how we're going to end this segment. At least so far, the Bulls right now are pretty much on pace where Basketball Reference would put them. Expected win-loss is 9-22 right now. They're 10-21, so obviously they're not too far off of that pace right now. And obviously they started off really slow. They looked like a terrible team. Only had 3 wins, and obviously they've been able to come back and storm back. But right now they're one of the worst teams in offensive rating. Defensive rating, they're decent right now. They're around 18th out of 30th. But at least simple rating system, they're one of the worst teams. They're 28th out of 30 when it comes to that. So this team, again, right now is overperforming in the past 9 games. So I think that's definitely off. I think you're seeing 2 extremes right now. You're seeing 2 extremes in 9 games, and then the other games you're seeing an extreme of really bad. I feel like they're going to balance out, but they're still going to be one of the worst teams in the NBA. And I feel like you're going to get a team that ends up in the top 3. All right, so this is going to be a top 3 pick for the Chicago Bulls.
Okay.
This is what I'm feeling, at least. If people disagree, let us know in the comments. We love hearing you guys talk in the comments down below. So if you feel like the Bulls are going to possibly be outside of the top 10, in the top 10, let us know in the comments below. But I'm going to put the Bulls at 3 right now. Off the board is going to be DeAndre Ayton and Marvin Bagley going to the Atlanta Hawks, and then going to the Bagley and Ayton are off the board. Memphis and Atlanta takes them respectively. Who are the Bulls taking at 3 then? In your mind, who should they go to?
It's Michael Porter.
So Doncic is on the board, Porter's on the board.
I go Michael Porter.
And why?
Why would you go Porter over
For
Doncic?
me, I go and here's the thing. With if we're going Doncic, it's okay. What do we do with him, Levine? Do we move Levine then to the 3?
Doncic will be a 3.
I would go with I'm going with the potential of Michael Porter over Doncic. Plus, for me personally, in most international players, don't trust them. I've been burned before in mock drafts where it's like, this guy's going to be so great, and then they come over and they're nothing.
Easily the best player that I've scouted, at least international.
And he's like Manu on steroids. I love Doncic, and I think that he is going to be fantastic. Yes, there's always the knocks on him for being a foreign player, for not being as quick as somebody like Porter would be. But at the same time, he comes in with being a professional since age 14, pretty much, being able to play against grown men that entire time, being one of the best players in Europe and being developed as much as he has been, he's still growing, and he's an accurate shooter. He's a great passer, great basketball IQ. The only thing that you could ask is that he somehow becomes a quicker player.
That's not going to happen, though.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
At least final thoughts, because the camera's about to run out on us. Final thoughts on this.
I just hope we don't get Bagley.
Why? Just one word. Why Doncic is over Porter?
Better player. Period.
That's 2 words. One word. Why Porter's better than Doncic.
I am gonna go with the fact that I know
that's not one word.
One word.
One word. Are you guys
one
deaf?
word potential.
He did it better than you.
He said a whole sentence first.
That's true. Let us know who.
But I gave one
Who would
word.
you take, Sean?
I take Porter. I think Porter's a better player.
All right.
Bingo.
That's not anything that you said. I think he's got more potential. I think he's quicker. I think he's better for the NBA. And also looking
Got
at
size
that,
on his side.
looking at that team too. I mean, pairing Chris Dunn, pairing the athleticism of Zach LaVine, pairing the athleticism of Michael Porter, and then also putting Laurie outside on the 3-point range, and also having his ability to at least be more of just that player. I feel like it'd be better. Anyways, let us know who you think the Bulls should take if they are in the top 3. Should they go Porter? Should they go Doncic? Are you a big Trae Young fan? Mohamed Bamba? Let us know in the comments down below. What do you think the Bulls are going to end up doing at the end of the season? Where will they be placed in the NBA draft? And who do you think they should ultimately go to? Anyways, we're moving on now, and we're talking about Anthony Davis. Woj dropped kind of a bomb. It wasn't a big bomb. It wasn't a Woj nuke, but it was a bomb. Dropped a Woj bomb about 3 days ago. He released an article talking about Anthony Davis being the greatest trade obsession right now in the NBA, and he pretty much sat down and talked to Anthony Davis. They talked about, comparing him to other players, how he talks about Karl-Anthony Towns, Kristaps Porzingis, Joel Embiid, Giannis Antetokounmpo, but that it all comes back to a winning thing. Anthony Davis wants to win, hasn't been in the playoffs right now. Obviously, we look at the playoff standings right now, 15 and 16. The Pelicans they're currently in the 8th spot, but that's not a for sure lockdown thing. They've been playing better when Rondo coming back. Drew Holiday's been playing better. Obviously, DeMarcus Cousins has been on fire. AD's been a little banged up. But this team right now is in the playoffs. But the whole point was that all these teams see Anthony Davis, 25 years old, #1 draft pick, looks like the future, at least for when he was coming into the league, looked like a future MVP, looked like a stud, but hasn't really been able to do all of those things because he hasn't really been healthy, hasn't been on a good team. So he remains the greatest trade obsession. The biggest thing that Anthony Davis said on there is that he wouldn't mind being a part of a super team, and he wants to be winning. And he said, you look at the Celtics, they get Gordon Hayward, they lose Gordon Hayward, and they're still winning. Isaiah Thomas takes his team to the Eastern Conference Finals, and they trade him. It's all about, does this organization have my back? And when talking about the Pelicans, we talked about DeMarcus Cousins possibly being traded 2 weeks ago. Yeah. Now going to Anthony Davis. It's a thing where I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think an Anthony Davis trade is going to happen. But the whole team, the big team that at least is out there that might trade for Anthony Davis, is the Boston Celtics. They've been vigilant on him back before they traded for Kyrie Irving, back before they were looking at Jimmy Butler. They were looking at Anthony Davis, trying to get him. Danny Ainge wanted him, and they're still keeping their eyes out. They're vigilant on an Anthony Davis trade. So, looking at it, with the way the Celtics are currently playing, with the way the Celtics team is built, you have young players, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, obviously Gordon Hayward out, Kyrie Irving. Do you feel like this is a necessary move for the Boston Celtics?
I think it's there's two sides of it. Is it necessary? Yes, because I think that having Anthony Davis, and if you could have Horford and Davis, and then Kyrie, and then either Brown or Tatum, because I feel like you'd have to give up one of them would go. Maybe even both, depending on it.
No.
I look at it on the other side. I know. I look at it on the other side of I don't see this happening, though, because of two things. One, if it was a straight up just my team, your team, the Celtics would have to give up so much without giving up Horford, Kyrie, or Tatum. And then two, it's like, yeah, we could work in a third team, but then what am I giving up to another team? It's going to be too complicated, I think, to make happen. But should they do it? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if they're
is it necessary?
Is it necessary?
Why is it necessary?
Yes, because I think with an Anthony...
You said it was necessary,
but you don't think it's going to happen.
With an Anthony Davis, I would put the Celtics over the Cavs in the Eastern Conference Finals.
But the whole thing is that it's not a move for just right now. It's a move for the future because, again, he's young. He's 25 years old. You're going to have Gordon Hayward. Hold on. You're going to have Gordon Hayward. You're going to have Kyrie Irving. It's a move for the future. You're going to have Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum or both if you're able to keep them.
I look at it this way. Anthony Davis would, in my mind, put the Celtics over the Cavs right now and in the future, even if LeBron stays. Maybe it chases LeBron out of the East. We don't know, not getting into that. But two, it gets you to the table to play the Warriors. Yeah, it gets you to that table.
I think it makes them a better team, even if they do have to give up multiple people.
No shit.
No
You're
shit.
getting one of the best players in the
Well,
NBA.
there you go. One of the best players in the NBA, but he's never healthy, and he's never consistently healthy, and he's always got these concerns about can he take this game to the next level. We watched him pop off for like 50 and 20 for the first 2 weeks of the season last
He
year.
wouldn't have to pop off for 50.
Well, that's
That's
the thing.
the one thing is usage is going to go down, so he's going to be playing less minutes. He doesn't have to be the guy putting the team on his back,
Which is his perfect role. I mean, if you watch him play in college, like his thing was, I don't have to score points to win my team games, and that's
He
I
didn't
feel
score in the national championship, I believe.
Yeah, you're correct.
Yeah.
He did not score. And that's the best thing. It's like he's a defensive monster. He's got length, he's got height, and he's super athletic. So he's everything you want in a stopper of a 5. And he has a great offensive game because now he can start to stretch the floor. He's a perfect fit for this Boston team. Can they make the move to get him? They could. They have draft picks to move. They have enough firepower. It's just like
the
Ricky said,
contract.
it's the contract that you have to make work for this team, and it's finding that third team who will accept people. Because I think Jaylen Brown easily is the odd man out between him and Tatum. I think Tatum.
Why do you feel that?
I think Tatum is already a stud of a shooter. He's a good defender, good at snatching rebounds. He's
Extra
very
year on
active.
the contract.
Extra year on the contract, but I just think he has a higher top end. Jaylen Brown is good. He's a good defender, and he is a great slasher, but his shot is not confident. And he has some questions when it comes to basketball IQ, the decisions he makes on the court.
So you're saying that Jason Tatum would be untouchable in your mind?
I would.
Okay.
I would think Tatum is the guy you're trying to keep if you're the Celtics, because you're gonna have to give up somebody.
Of course, you want to keep him. Of course,
Yeah.
if you're picking Tatum or Brown, not only for the reasons you mentioned, but I think they want to keep Tatum. Tatum was their guy this year. He's younger, like you guys mentioned, more control. He looks like he has the ability defensively and offensively. He's one of the best 3-point shooters right now when it comes to percentages in the league. It's for sure that they want to keep Tatum, but the whole thing is that you're getting rid of Anthony Davis, a guy that is supposed to be one of the best players in the NBA, top 10 player in the NBA. Yeah. Wouldn't the Pelicans be like, no, we want Tatum?
Multiple ones. That's the deal. They've got that Lakers pick ish. They've got the Clippers pick ish. They got the Memphis pick ish.
You're talking about Boston.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have firepower. You have remember this stockpile of picks that Danny Ainge has cultivated on this team. And what they're going to flip that over to. We always talk about him blue balling us on all of these, like, oh, the Celtics could do this, the Celtics could do that.
They finally
pulled the trigger on Kyrie, and that's cool. But there's a certain history to this, and that's why when you first brought up the story, I was cracking up because it's if this is a Bill Simmons thing, I'm just gonna toss it away. It's Bill Simmons being Bill Simmons. We all know the man is every week. It's 5 reasons why the Celtics are gonna get somebody.
Yeah.
So I whatever, but because it's Woj, because there's some credibility to it. I do think that they could pull the trigger. They have the firepower. They have the people. It's just a matter of, like Ricky said, I think maybe finding that third team to pivot off of.
Again, we don't know if there's for sure talks going on. Woj just said that the Celtics.
It'd be like tampering or something.
We just know. Well, no.
Oh no, not tampering. Yeah.
What the fuck?
He's not a free agent. I'm sorry.
You're a moron. I love you, but you're a moron.
Words.
Come on.
Words.
Again, we don't know if this is for sure. I doubt it's for sure because, again, right now the Pelicans are in the playoffs. They have DeMarcus Cousins, Drew Holiday. They have Rondo. They have AD, obviously. They have, right now, the playoffs. So I doubt they're going to be moving on, especially having the control over Anthony Davis. It's just the fact that he's still lingering on and that he still is a possible trade candidate. And, even though, Boston did get Kyrie, they're still trying to get Anthony Davis. They're still trying to load up, even though they have 2 great wings in the future in Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. Obviously, if they were in Hayward next year, they have Al Horford. They have a pretty decently built
I'd call
team.
him okay, yeah.
So, I mean, the whole thing is that he's still a obsession for the NBA that people still want him because right now you could probably say that so far his career's been wasted right now in New Orleans. Anthony Davis, that is, hasn't been to the playoffs, has been injured, has been put a ton of pressure on him so far, has been really given no help and try to give him some help with Drew Holiday, et cetera, et cetera. They've been trying to give him help, but it hasn't worked out so far, and people have been like, well, we want to get him when he's healthy and when he's in his prime, and that's why he's the biggest obsession right now. Do you understand the obsession? And
yes.
I mean, like
from other teams to him?
Yeah.
Yes. And the reason why is this comes back to the argument that I feel like I say each and every time I talk basketball is look at the Pelicans. If this was the 90s, they'd be one of the best teams in the NBA because they'd have the best front court in the NBA. However, we're not in the 90s. We're in a game where just because you have the best front court, you're the 15th best team.
Jordan didn't have best front court.
No. What I'm saying is
LeBron would still be dominating.
No, that's what I'm saying is in the it comes down to the argument of what they said of I'll take this. When they were talking about Kobe this week on everywhere, they're like, who would you take, Kobe or Shaq or Michael and Scotty? And every single person that was asked that question went, well, what rules are we playing by? If we're playing by today's rules, Michael and Scotty. If we're playing 90s and early 2000s, I'll take Kobe and Shaq because of the dominant big man. Like Anthony Davis, he can work, but he can't work as the number one if de facto on a team. And I look at the Pelicans right now, they're the last team to be out of the lottery. If that happens, it's like, well, what kind of pick are we going to have there? Davis is not a free agent until 2021. Who knows what my body is going to be like when I'm the if de facto number one person on this team. Although, yeah, I have Boogie for some time right now. We don't know if that's going to be all the way until the contract ends.
At least to the end of the year.
Yeah. But if I was Anthony Davis,
Drew with you forever.
I want to go and win too because I don't see the Pelicans being a championship team by the end of his contract, which would make him 28.
No, he says in that whole thing that he wants to win. That you're judged on winning. So that's the whole big thing that he wants to do. And also, just want to do one thing. Fact check, you guys. Anthony Davis did score points in the championship game. He was 1 for 10 from the field.
Then it was the second half he didn't score at all. One of those halves he didn't score.
4 for 6 from the free throw line. He had 6 points total. 6 blocks though, 16 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals. He was unreal in that game, even though he didn't. Score 8 points. But at least looking at Anthony Davis, again, I understand why this obsession is there, and I think you put it into good words there, Ricky, is again, you look at him, 25 years old, he's a monster out there. He can shoot from the outside, he can take it in, he can attack, he's a monster on the low block, he's a great defender. I mean, there's everything that you want there, but again, we haven't seen his full potential because he hasn't been on a great team, and even with DeMarcus there, it's probably not the best pair you can be. Like, obviously it's a great pair, but like that's not the best thing for Anthony Davis to really show off his best skills. If you had a point forward to really set him up, or a better point guard that could be dangerous from the outside, like
you watch yourself.
Like a 3. What?
Rondo?
I'm saying like a Steph Curry. Like, I'm saying like
anybody to make him look like a better player.
I'm saying like
shocked.
No, but like you would say like DeMarcus Cousins is a top 10 player, right?
Yeah.
I'm saying if you add a different top 10 player who's like a facilitator and a scorer, that's going to be a better pair with Anthony Davis.
That's what I'm saying. You get what's available. Not many top 10 players are on the market.
Making the hot take that Steph Curry is better than fucking Rajon Rondo.
Let me put it this way, and this might be hot takey. Take DeMarcus Cousins out of New Orleans, insert Kyrie in, or insert Isaiah Thomas in. It's a completely different team.
Yeah, the problem
and it's a winning team.
They put themselves into a bad situation with contracts. And because of those bad contracts, they were locked down on what options they could make. Boogie was the only top 10, top 15 player out there on the market. And they made the deal. They got him in town, which is awesome. They could do that. But yeah, I agree. The pairing isn't exactly perfect. You have Boogie as a center who has great ball handling skills, good passer, great shooter from the outside, and Davis, who is a down low bruiser who can stretch the floor now. Like, great, you got 2 bigs. But you're stuck with Drew Holiday, who's healthy for like 30 days out of the year. You got Rondo, who old, still good, but you're not going to carry that team into a championship win.
I was just saying, the reason why he's the biggest obsession in the NBA is because that potential has always been there, and people still feel like that potential hasn't been reached. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, him and Bismack Biyombo are my 2 top guys with wasted potential.
I brought up I'm just saying the potential's still there, and people want to bring it up. And I think. Should they? I don't know if it's really going to be a feasible option. I think that's the reason why it won't happen. And again, you look at everything that the Celtics have brought up and that they have right now. You mentioned the load of draft picks. You mentioned Jason Tatum. You mentioned Jaylen Brown. Terry Rozier still a guy that people want as well. You look at Marcus Smart. He's
expiring
still young
contract
as well. I still look at it and I feel like it's not going to happen. I don't think Anthony Davis is going to get traded anytime soon. No. I feel like if he's going to get traded, it's going to be near that end of the contract when New Orleans is probably like, all right, we can't keep him around. I think that's going to be something big. I don't feel like New Orleans would trade him at all because that's the only player right now that's probably going to make him money for the next 5 years.
The face of the franchise.
Yeah, I mean, he's not. I mean, Drew Holiday is not going to be making him money. And then people aren't going to be coming to see Drew Holiday. People aren't going to be coming to see
contract. They better.
A 16th pick in the NBA draft. Right now, Anthony Davis is the reason New Orleans is making money. They're losing money right now, but like the only reason that they're closer to breaking even right now is because of Anthony Davis. And again, I don't think this is going to be something that happens anytime soon. But I feel like this is going to be something that never goes away. And I think it's maybe going to be similar to DeMarcus Cousins. Every single year we brought up, is DeMarcus Cousins going to be traded? He's a cancer to the Kings.
2+ years at least.
He still wants to be moved. I think the biggest thing, though, is that Anthony Davis really hasn't said that he wants to be traded. Yeah. I think he wants to win.
He hasn't denied that he doesn't want to trade.
But here's the thing. Once the door opens a crack, and that's what I feel like this is, by saying the whole, you can say like, oh, by him saying that, yeah, winning matters, that's him trying to light a fire under the Pelicans' behinds to get them going. But let's be completely honest. If they're the 15th pick in the draft where they are right now, if the season ended today, you're not going to get that one player that magically makes you a winning franchise.
Probably not.
I think that's more of a comment like, hey, I would like to win at some point, and eventually, if things are like they are right now, I'm going to start asking for trades.
Yeah, I just think it's so out of his personality that he would ask for a trade ever, which is why I'm like, yeah, he's there. He's a nice, quiet kid, and it's a shame because at like 24, we've watched, he's been in the league for 4 years already, 5 years, something like that.
Yeah, longer than that.
Like,
he probably came in when he's like 19. Yeah,
I mean, it's just, it's a shame that we're seeing this, and I see why the Celtics want him because it's their biggest need right now. It's their biggest weakness. But at the end of the day, it's a high asking price for a lot of years left on a contract that you're going to leave this New Orleans team without anything. So
shit, I was saying he was 25. He's 24.
Yeah, he's 24 the whole time.
Yeah. He's been in the league
I don't want to
5
correct
years.
you.
Well, you should have corrected me. But yeah, he's been in the league for 5 years. Woj put it as 25.
Yeah, he will be 25 in 3
March.
months.
Yeah, but
Just to put it in perspective, he's Brandon's age. Him and Brandon are the same age.
Yeah, look what they've done with their careers.
one is way
Both of them have not won a playoff game.
Yeah,
It's true.
but one has a national championship in college.
I don't feel like it's gonna happen. I feel like of course, like kind of what Ricky said. I don't know if it's necessary for the Celtics to win again. I feel like
what I could see going down is nothing happens this year.
I don't think anything happens in the next 2 years.
Celtics, well, here's the thing. This is the most crazy thing I'll say. Nothing happens this year. Boston loses to the Cavs in the Eastern Conference Finals and then feel like, shoot, we need a defensive force or someone to help down low. And then next year at the earliest, we get the hard talks for Davis to Boston.
Potentially that, but you got to watch out this year for the bargain defenders down low. You could go get Roll, you could go get DeAndre Jordan, you could go get some of these guys who could fill that spot for you, and at bargain of the price.
Possibly they trade for Rollo too.
Yeah.
When we were talking about that last time in the Bull segment, I was just thinking, why not trade him to Rollo? He destroyed you last year on the board, so why not just go get someone that destroyed you on the board?
I would refuse to take Aaron Baines though. I hate that kid.
That's fair. But at least looking at Anthony Davis, 3 more years. I feel like if the talk picks up, he's going to get traded near that 2019-2020 year. He's going to be 26 years old, like at $27 million. Then he's got 1 more year after that, so it's going to be probably similar to that Boogie contract for there. They're just lucky that salary didn't trigger because he didn't make the first team or whatever it was. But overall, I don't think it's going to happen. Should they? Of course. It's Anthony Davis. He's one of the best players in the NBA. And it's going to make your team better, and having Kyrie, Gordon Hayward, Jaylen Brown, or Jason Tatum and Anthony Davis, that makes your team better. And again, the whole lingering of is LeBron going to stay or not is definitely still out there.
I want to ask this right at the end. If it was a deal where it's like, okay, we got a deal in place, but Horford has to be in the deal, and you are basically switching Horford for Davis, do you do it?
Yes.
100%.
Why I would not even blink.
Okay.
Like
Just
the ones I'd
throwing
blink
out
at would be if they said Brown and Tatum. Like
Okay.
no.
I would not
include both of them.
Yeah, he would get moved in a heartbeat for Anthony Davis.
Yeah, I mean, you're upgrading. You're still upgrading for getting in.
Because ideally, I'm looking at it as, hey, let's add Davis, have him at the 5, Horford at the 4,
right?
And then like thinking long term, then you have Tatum, Hayward, and Kyrie.
Yeah, but then again, you also get rid of Horford's contract as well. That's something too, where in the next 3 years, Horford's contract might not be great. Right now, he's playing great, but I would easily trade Anthony Davis for Al Horford. I mean, obviously, there's going to be more to that. I feel like it's not going to happen, though. I feel like we're all in agreement with that. But it is interesting. Again, like
because Boston does have the assets. If they want to make it happen, they could make it happen.
The only other team that has close to the assets are the Hawks, and they're not making any moves. They're the only team that has like multiple
firsts. Didn't Anthony say he want to play for a winner?
Yeah,
no, I know.
He doesn't want to move. He doesn't want to move.
My point is
undefeated.
He doesn't want to move a couple states over.
My point is there's no other winners with the amount of assets.
No, there are not.
No. I mean, you got Cleveland with K-Love and that Brooklyn pick.
The Brooklyn pick that keeps falling?
I don't know.
That's a wash.
I'm just throwing it out there.
Okay.
I'm just saying they have some assets. I mean, Golden State has nothing.
Clearly, we're just
Golden State doesn't.
we're
need
suckers as
anything.
Bulls fans. We're like, we're gonna hold out till he's a free agent.
Maybe
bring him home.
Rockets as well. Hey, when that contract's up, when that contract's up, he's gonna be
30-year-old Anthony Davis.
When that
Close
contract-
enough.
27.
28.
Close enough.
Yeah, when that contract's up, he's gonna be 28. So he'll
Close
still be in his
Yeah,
prime.
yeah.
Anyways, let us know what you think about Anthony Davis to Celtics. I think we came into this topic knowing that nothing was going to happen, but it's still interesting to talk about because he is such a great player. He's a polarizing player. Obviously, the talks are always, interesting to bring up. Like, could it possibly happen? And looking at this team, Kyrie Irving, Gordon Hayward, Anthony Davis, Brown, or Tatum. That's a team that could probably win a championship. I mean, that's a team that really you don't have an answer for at that 5 if you're Golden State. If you're Cleveland, you probably never have an answer for it because probably one of the best big men, if not the best big man, and the other best big man's on his team right now in DeMarcus Cousins. But anyways, that's going to wrap up that topic. But anyways, we're moving now into our final topic. We're talking about Isaiah Thomas and what he will bring to the Cavs once he is ready. Looking at it, he suited up for the Bulls game, was not going to be playing, and he's been ruled out for the Warriors game. But according to NBA.com, it says that Isaiah Thomas will be playing or could be playing for the Cavs next week. So he will be out there at some point. He's been down in the G League for a little bit. It was called up. So he's been back and forth for the Cleveland Cavaliers, practicing with them, and he should be ready soon. Obviously, he was a big part of that not the Isaiah Thomas trade, the Kyrie Irving trade. But
I hope Isaiah Thomas was a big part of the Isaiah Thomas deal.
All right, guys, fucked up. Big part of that Kyrie Irving trade, and obviously, Cavs have been playing really well so far. LeBron having one of his best years ever at 33, 32 years old. So, I mean, looking at it, what do you think that Isaiah Thomas will bring to this Cavs team, either that they're missing or either that they can improve on? Because obviously he's a great player, obviously going to be the best point guard they have out there once he's fully healthy. But what specifically will Isaiah Thomas bring to this, at least Cleveland Cavaliers team?
Well, for me, the most important thing is LeBron won't have to do it all himself. Like, we won't see the games where it's like, well, LeBron playing point guard out there and he's just doing it all himself. He'll be like, hey, I actually have a point guard.
LeBron can play off ball?
I'm going to let you do you, and I'm going to go back to just being good in other facets of the game because that's what I do.
Every other.
Like, that's the biggest thing to me, where LeBron doesn't have to do everything, and he's got a guy like he did last year in Kyrie.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good balance to the team because you bring out another outside scorer, you bring out somebody who is a phenomenal ball handler, helps them with their pick and roll game. I mean, no disrespect to Jose Calderon, but like it's a slight upgrade over him. And it also will continue to balance out their team because now you push him back onto the second unit and you can split time with another primary ball handler. I know Dwayne Wade has thrived with that second unit, but bring Calderon, a guy who's shooting above 40% from three in his career, a guy who's consistently shooting really well this year. He just doesn't take many shots. And then also the fact you can bounce in Isaiah and LeBron, you'll never have a time when you don't have a primary ball handler who you don't trust out there. Like, I love Wade, but he's not consistent, He'll play up for the games, he'll play down for games.
Well, and obviously right now, LeBron's playing a ton of minutes so far. He's been absolutely insane so far, but he's leading the league in minutes so far, total minutes played, and he's playing about 37.3 per game, so absolutely ridiculous. It's obviously going to give him a break. His usage isn't that high. I mean, it's pretty much par for the course for what LeBron's been doing so far. I mean, 31, so it's not crazy. Last year, Isaiah had a usage of 34 for the Celtics, so obviously he's a guy that can handle a load. Obviously, that's terrible phrasing. He's obviously a guy that can handle a workload.
A workload? Oh, that's what you're talking about, yeah.
What kind of work is he doing? But obviously he could be a guy that can take pressure off LeBron James.
A little bit of pressure relief there? Oh, fuck. A little stress relief?
Take over.
He does great things for this team. Ricky, please.
I don't know what's going on.
All right.
I get the joke.
All right, fuck. But Isaiah last year was obviously Mr. Fourth Quarter. LeBron's been doing that so far for the Cavs.
Yes.
And he doesn't have to bring that.
Well,
but
Kyle Korver, but yeah.
Well, I mean, LeBron's leading the NBA in fourth quarter scoring.
I know. I'm just saying. Because Korver. Korver's been fantastic.
So, because of Kyle Korver, LeBron James is leading the NBA in fourth
100%.
quarter scoring.
100%.
That makes no sense.
The logic flows.
Transitive property.
Yep. Let's go with that.
I don't know. I just threw something
Korver's
out
been fantastic in the fourth for them, which means people actually have to cover him in the corners, and with all his movement, LeBron has better opportunities.
Okay, but anyways, what do you think this lineup's going to look like when we have Isaiah Thomas out there?
It's going to be crazy because I I'm not 100% sold on Tristan Thompson being like dead to rights. I think he still has some value in limited minutes. So I would be happy running out there with having Isaiah at the 1, JR at the 2, LeBron, K-Love, and TT. I think that lineup is solid top to bottom, and I think the only question really with his return is like, how do you split the minutes? Because like I said, with having LeBron, Dwayne Wade, and IT, all his primary ball handlers, if Derrick Rose decides to play basketball again this year, you have another guy who is, ISO heavy. So I like the fact that you know what Isaiah can do. He creates great opportunities with pick and roll, pick and pops. Kevin Love is going to benefit hugely from this. I wonder if Jay Crowder will return to becoming like a decent basketball player. Maybe, some synergy there. But like it's going to open up their offensive game so much. The question then becomes defensively. Now that you have to deal with Isaiah Thomas on your team, how are you going to make up for that? Well,
and looking at it, I mean, so far the recent lineup has been Jose Calderon, Jay Crowder, LeBron James, K-Love, and J.R. Smith. That's been really the go-to 5 that they've been going for. Obviously, Calderon's going to get bumped. That's going to put Isaiah Thomas in. Maybe that's why you would go to maybe a Tristan Thompson because, he is long, he is athletic, he is, decent defensively, where Isaiah Thomas is complete trash out there.
Yeah.
And JR isn't that great defensively. I don't want to say that.
When he tries hard, he's good.
Yeah, but again, how much is he going to be trying, early into the season?
True.
And defensively, they have picked it up with the switch to, weirdly enough, Jose Calderon going over. So, I mean, maybe, possibly, when they first bring him in, Isaiah Thomas, maybe he would be 6-man? I mean,
you don't make him a 6-man.
No, but working him in. Are you going to put him in minutes restriction, or are you going to put him into the starting lineup right away? Because right now, the starting lineup's been working well. Jose Calderon, Jay Crowder, LeBron James, K-Love, J.R. Smith. You don't want to push him too much because you don't want to be injured again. You want to be able to keep him rested and healthy. And maybe you can weirdly see a pairing of D. Wade and Isaiah Thomas offensively, at least coming off the bench to start, not right away. And I'm not saying for the first 2 months. I'm saying for first 2 weeks. I mean, that would bring some dynamic to at least ease in Isaiah Thomas into NBA games.
Well,
I don't think it'd be crazy.
The good thing with that is they could obviously do that because it's not like by having Isaiah come off the bench and ease him into a starting role, it's not like you're magically going to fall below the Pacers in the playoff standings. It's like you're going to stay there, maybe be neck and neck with the Raptors, and really you only need Isaiah to be starter Isaiah at the top of his game when you get to the playoffs.
I think you guys are crazy. I mean, are you forgetting this is the kid who dropped like 30 a game last year who just absolutely dominated the offensive game?
I'd rather have that in the playoffs than risk something early on.
You're not risking anything. You bring him back for 15, 20, 25 minutes. You build him up over a couple of games. But I'm not saying he has to come and drop, play 37 minutes a night like LeBron. But you don't bring him back with the second. You want him to get that comfortability with the first two. You want him to get in a groove with the guys who he's going to be playing with when it matters most.
I don't disagree with that, but you also have a ton of time to do that. Yeah. I mean, it's January until April. You have a ton of time to get that comfortability.
Like 40 games
you don't want to mess it up. You don't want them to I'm not saying like it's demotion. But I'm just saying if you're going to have the starting lineup that's currently working for you right now, Jay Crowder, Jose Calderon,
a strong move because Crowder's been awful.
No, but I'm saying they've been winning. Yes. Like they've been winning with that lineup. That's what I'm saying by working. I'm not saying Jay Crowder's been great. That's not what I'm saying by working. Okay. I'm saying that they've been winning ball games. Yeah. So far, they've been on their best run since November 11th all the way to the 21st of December. I mean, this lineup's been working for him so far. So I'm just saying, go with the lineup that's working so far. You could put him into situations where he comes in for Calderon right away. You get him into the game early, and then you're able to switch him out. And then off the bench, you have Isaiah Thomas, D. Wade, and Tristan Thompson out there, and Channing Frye, guys that can shoot. Also Kyle Korver. It's going to be able to open up Isaiah Thomas on the screens. D-Wade can handle the ball. He can pass it off to Isaiah Thomas. He can get him open. He can get him comfortable into running off screens against worse defenders. He doesn't have to do as much, going up against top-level defenders when he's going up against second units against teams. I'm just saying this is just for easing him back in. I'm not saying that he's not going to touch, if they want to start him right away and then pull him a couple minutes in, play him, first 5 minutes of the game with LeBron, K-Love, Jay Crowder, whatever the starting five is going to be. If you want to do that and you want to start him off that way, I feel like that would be smart. But I feel like, again, he's going to play probably, maybe 18 minutes at, the least and then 25 at the most. He's not going to play that many minutes. And maybe you can go to a second unit where he's going up with him and D-Wade and Tristan Thompson and see if you can really, take advantage of that mismatch.
And the reason why I would go more towards like what Sean is saying is because one thing we talked about earlier, LeBron can actually get rest now. if you're going to say, okay, I'm putting IT on a minutes restriction, but I'm going to start him with LeBron, that makes Ty Lue's job, who we've all criticized before, makes his job harder into, okay, when do I take LeBron out because IT's minutes are here and I can only play him this many minutes per game, and where we talked about with giving him confidence against lesser guys. He's going up against second unit guys to where Dave,
we're talking about one of the best offensive players in the league last year. And best against starters.
And
against
I'm not
everyone
saying
in the
this
league.
is a
and
knock.
you're saying he needs to play against second unit guys to build his confidence?
No, I'm
Is
not.
he like Bama?
Dude, I'm saying
I'm not saying to build his confidence.
A no-name school?
I'm not saying to build his confidence. I'm saying if I am looking at it, success of the Cavs, to let's say it's 2 weeks, like Sean said, I'll send you out against second unit guys because then we can, in my mind, build that scoring margin to help win games and then put you in situations where you're playing along first unit guys as well.
Look, LeBron James is maybe going to go down a minute and a half tops in his minutes per game. Like, that's not going to change that much.
Yeah, but that's significant for LeBron James.
Maybe. I said maybe a minute. Maybe a minute. That's realistically what we're talking.
I don't think maybe it will go down. Like his minutes are going to go down with IT being
It's
back.
not like IT is becoming, the next power forward, small forward for them. So, I mean, it's not, they don't have a direct replacement for LeBron.
No, but I mean, look at like when they had Kyrie. Kyrie didn't play small forward or shooting guard, but LeBron did take chunks off in games.
Yeah,
where it's
but
like, hey, I'm going to
He's
take
been playing the
doesn't
same
change.
amount of minutes.
Yeah, that's his entire career.
That's wrong. I mean, like last year, LeBron played pretty much the same amount of minutes. I think he's playing
It's just
but the year before
I think he's playing like 38-3. He's playing like
but like the year before was 35. He was 2 minutes is big for the best player in the league.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
The point is, you want to have your best player out there as much as possible. He's LeBron. He knows his limits. Ty Lue isn't exactly the coach of the year, so it's on LeBron to kind of manage his own minutes and tell you when he needs to be in and out of games.
Again,
I'm not worried about that.
I'm not saying Isaiah Thomas is a bad player and should be on the second unit. What I'm saying is this guy's coming off a hip flexor. Yeah. This guy's old. I'm just old.
He's 29.
Okay, but he's...
He's 29, right?
Yeah, he's 29. I'm not saying he's like old ass man out there, but I'm just saying he's
still prime.
He's a guy that still, again, isn't really, isn't going to be recovering like a 20-year-old. He's not going to be recovering like Michael Porter Jr. from an injury. I'm just saying, for maybe the first 2 weeks, Dave, which would be like 6 games, maybe he plays a little bit more with the second unit to build up some confidence, to make sure he's not, pushing himself too far when he's coming back from this rehab, because he's not probably 100%. I don't think that's so crazy because you don't want to ruin him again.
Don't bring him back.
And hurt him.
You got no need to.
But
you got
again,
no rush.
100%, he's not in game shape right now.
Yeah,
it's not like he's 100% doesn't mean 100% healthy. 100% means 100% ready to go against NBA competition every single night.
If he wasn't ready, he wouldn't have spent 5 hours in that G League before he got brought back up again. That's all I'm saying.
You're a dumbass.
5 hours, greatest practice ever.
Just to put it into perspective, 2 weeks from today would be 5 games for the Cavs.
Well,
So
he's going to come back
that'd
next
be a
week.
total.
Yeah, something like that.
I'm
okay.
At the end of the day,
I think what they're going to do is just to start him off, they're going to put him in the starting lineup.
Yep.
Play him for like maybe 5-7 minutes to start it off, and then they're going to rotate out. And I don't think he's going to be with the first unit for that many, maybe 2 or 3 more rotations. But I don't think it's going to be significant minutes that he's going to be playing with the first unit. I think he's going to be playing a little bit more with the second unit to build up that confidence to go up against some second guys for 5 fucking games, Dave.
I just think it's hilarious.
What's hilarious?
Do.
Why do you think he should be getting 30 minutes right away playing with the first unit and
you.
being the guy that they're relying on?
I told you, go 15, 20, 25, 30. Like, that's perfectly fine. 4 games of wrap up.
All with the first unit.
I don't think you can stagger lineups well. That it's not a concern. My concern is having him and LeBron on the court at the same time, and having probably him, LeBron, and Caleb are the 3 key pieces. Like, obviously, if you get them 15 minutes of time together, I'm happy. Like, that's what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for they need to play 30 minutes, same lineup, nobody breaks. Like, that's just.
I'm not saying that.
I know. We're both going to extremes here. The point is, he's going to come back, he's going to be a starter, and he's going to make them a better team because offensively, he just makes opportunities for everybody.
No shit, he's going to make them a better team. We're not saying he's not going to make them a better team. I mean, this team's going to be the number one team, number one seed in the Eastern Conference.
I think the funniest thing is, like, I mean, if D Rose decides to play, would you even bring him back, though?
Well, he's coming back right now. He's progressing to spot shooting, according to Casey Johnson.
You have Jose Calderon, who's shooting over, I think this year, like 40-40. I think he's above 40% both, or maybe 50%. It's something crazy. and you have Wade, you have JR, you got Shumpert. Like, are you how you making minutes?
50% from three and 50% from the field.
Exactly, 50-50
let me put it
But D Rose is still better than Jose Calderon. I mean, like,
but he's better, but in different ways.
Yeah, he's not.
Jose is a great fit for the team as a shooter.
Here's the
different
question
players,
I was going to ask to put it to this sense: best of 7 series, you're going up against Boston. Who would you feel more confident in your backup point guard, D Rose or Calderon? I'd go D Rose.
It depends what you need. And it gives them a great chance because if they need someone who can run ISO and
what
drive,
do you think they would need
D-Rose.
in a best of 7 against Boston? Because that is what it leads to.
100% shooting.
That's going to go to Calderon, but then again, I wouldn't pass out having D Rose because D Rose can still make his shots, and you still have Channing Frye, you still have Kyle Korver, you still have that shooting out there.
Right.
I mean, D Wade when he's open, he can hit a 3. I mean, I feel like D Rose again. We don't know exactly what he's going to bring.
That's the thing is what shape's he going to be?
Yeah.
How confident is he when he's driving?
I think
there's a lot of questions.
You're going to know what you're going to get from Jose Calderon.
Yep.
And that's one thing. But with D Rose, you still have that potential again of what if. If he's healthy, D Rose is putting up 18 points a game like he did last year.
It's scary.
So I don't know.
IT coming back is just huge for this team now.
How do you feel?
They're a great team already, and then you just drop in one of the best scorers in the league last year.
How do you feel IT and LeBron will work together?
Awesome. I just
What about it?
like I think the fact that, like I said, the splitting of the primary ball handling duties is big, but also the ability to create for your team. Because right now, the only person who can create his own shot is LeBron, and K-Love part-time. Like, he's not even full-time, he's part-time. Sometimes he just takes the plays from the corner and
D-Wade
does
off
his
the bench,
thing.
too.
And D-Wade off the bench, but that's like haphazardously sometimes, not even to their benefit. IT is a great creator. Like I said, the pick and roll game is going to be incredible. The pick and pop game with K-Love and Korver and Channing Frye, like you said, gain better shots for all the guys in this team. Remember how many times Isaiah Thomas would turn that corner, drive down the lane, and just kick it out and kick it around to somebody else for a better shot. And it's that first pass that leads to the second pass that leads to the wide open shot. And that's what I'm looking to see with a more balanced offense and a less ISO-centric. What we looked at this team was like, we're going to have 4 guys out there playing ISO. Dwayne Wade, LeBron James, Kevin Love, and Derrick Rose, and even Isaiah Thomas. Like, no. I see a lot more passing coming in. I see their assist numbers going up. I think that they'll play better team basketball. The question is, when we come back to crunch time, are we going Mr. Fourth Quarter Isaiah Thomas? Are we going LeBron James, who's been shutting it down as of late on teams?
You go LeBron.
You go LeBron.
You're going LeBron. At least looking at it, Dave, do you feel like they're going to use the screens that were so effective for Isaiah Thomas last year?
Yeah, I think.
Do you feel like that's going to be in the repertoire for Ty Lue?
I think it absolutely should be. If they don't, I'd be surprised because he had such a high level of success using it last year, and you have smart players like LeBron, like K-Love, who are going to be able to set screens for you on smaller guys without a problem, and they have enough agility, speed, quickness to move out of there and create shots.
Ricky?
The only thing I would change to that is Ty Lue won't be making that call. LeBron will.
Yeah, I mean that's
LeBron will be saying, "Hey, dude, let's get you some more screening action." I look
Just
at this.
keep stepping over and putting down.
Yeah, gotta step
Just
up.
keep
You gotta
doing
look
it.
down while you step over them too.
God.
The thing, like, I am excited for this to happen because I think that if I'm gonna put it simply in my mind, how I look at this is it's gonna be similar to, not the same because I don't want to take anything away from Kyrie, but similar to LeBron Kyrie, but with less ego.
I don't know about that.
Because Kyrie,
there was some
you gotta say there was
animosity
a
there.
little
Less
bit of ego from
less
Kyrie.
ego, but I don't know if it's going to be exactly the same.
Well, no, it's Kyrie's ego came in the sense of I want this to be my team.
I
whereas,
don't disagree with the ego
Okay.
thing. I disagree with
thought
it.
you
It's
were
going to be
saying-
the same.
No, that's why I said like I don't want to take anything away, but similar to that, but with less ego.
I don't know. Final question I had was IT coming back, looking at what the Cavs have been doing so far, doesn't make them the favorites to win at all.
Let me
win
see
the
how he
East?
plays.
Win it all.
Let me see how he plays
No,
when he comes
not
back.
not the East. Not up. Make a hot
This
take.
roster as it stands today.
This
with
roster-
IT,
To beat the
is
Warriors?
not going to beat the
Say
Warriors.
no D Rose
To beat the
We'll
Warriors.
take no D Rose. The roster that it is to beat the Warriors to
No.
win it all.
Not a chance.
I think
Not
there's
a
a
chance?
Not a
chance.
chance in hell.
I think there's a
To
chance
beat the
but I don't
Warriors,
think
not a
they
chance
win
in
it.
hell to beat the Warriors.
No.
Do you feel like they're
I'd favor the Warriors in 5 games again. 5-6.
really?
Yeah.
Do you feel? I don't know about that.
Yeah, so that's
Do you feel that they're the best opponent to take down the Warriors?
No.
What do you think it is?
I think Boston. Boston would have a better series than they both lose to the Warriors, but
Out of the whole NBA, what I'm saying.
out of the whole NBA, the Rockets.
Hey.
Yeah, the Rockets are the best challengers to the Warriors. I thought we were just talking East.
No, I was.
No, Rockets
I
are the
should phrase
best
it
chance
better.
to take down the Warriors.
So you
Will
put the
they?
Cavs
No.
at 3 to take down the Warriors?
Yes. Right
I don't know
now.
about that.
I don't know if I would put the Warriors over all 3 of those teams right now, but yeah, that's how I'd rank them.
Dave.
I'm similar. I just don't think the Celtics are a better matchup for the Warriors. I think the Cavs will lose this. Cavs would lose with this roster if they don't make any moves, probably in 6.
Well, it's like
What moves do they need to make then to put them over?
Honestly, they need to move that Brooklyn pick for somebody of decent value, whether it's another
Just
wing,
player type. Doesn't you have to throw out an actual player?
either a wing or a center. They need one or the other. If you can get either one of those two, it puts you in great shape against a team like the Warriors. They've got matchup-wise a pretty fair fight across the board, and that's what you want. You want to turn into a 50-50 series because that's the best you're going to get against 4 All-Stars with the Warriors. So I think that, yes, they're the best team out of the East if they have this team. If they don't make any deals, they're still going to lose in like 6, though.
And the only thing with the Celtics and the Cavs that's kind of yin and yang to both of them in this discussion is, yes, the Cavs have that more veteran of a team, but they are, on paper, least talented to the Celtics in my mind. However,
Really?
What?
However, they got LeBron
fuck are
James.
you talking
They've got
about?
LeBron James, which is the best
Caleb's
player.
better than Al Horford. LeBron James is the best player in the NBA. Isaiah Thomas is, I mean...
Side grade from Kyrie.
Yeah, it's not like too big of a difference if
No,
there
I'm
is
not
a
saying
difference
it's
at
a
all.
huge difference. Slight. I'm putting
D-Wade's
on paper.
D-Wade's been unreal at the 6-man.
Not trying to make it a knock at the Cavs.
You
Fine,
are.
we'll
You
put it-
are. You said they're the
fine.
worst team.
We'll put it easy.
What the fuck
yeah,
are you talking
but
about?
it's not like huge mountains, hills, and valleys. It's just boop, like a little bit off.
just
a
get a little
little
boop,
bit off.
Sean.
But the thing that I worry about with the Celtics is guys like Tatum, guys like Brown being in that moment for the first time, being so young, will they freeze up in that moment? So it's kind of like a yin and
Brown
yang.
got
You
some
won't
experience
freeze up
last
LeBron
year.
James.
One's more
Who's
veteran.
been to what, 7
Yeah.
fucking finals
And I'm not
straight?
trying to knock at LeBron.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, no.
Cavs are going to upset the Warriors in the finals. I'm calling it now.
Oh!
You said that last year and it didn't happen. So
Okay, and I've said it the year before. This is a team with more talent. I know I was shitting on him when they brought in D-Wade, but so far D-Wade in that 6-man position has been absolutely fantastic, and he's been, dynamic out there, and that's something that they really didn't have last year was dynamic bench scoring. You have D-Wade, who not only is known as a closer out throughout his whole career, but also he looks like he has taken on this role pretty great. You look at Isaiah Thomas, like Dave mentioned, this is a guy that scored close to 30 points per game last year. This is a guy that is a great shooter from the outside. This is a guy that can create for himself. This is a guy that can take down Steph Curry offensively. We look last year, who was one of the teams that gave Warriors consistent problems? It was Boston. It was IT. Obviously, that was more of the system, but still, IT was a great player, and IT gave Steph Curry problems. Going up one-on-one, that's not going to be different than Kyrie versus Steph last year. It's going to be a little bit different because of the size, but overall, I mean, Kyrie played better defense, but I feel like Isaiah can beat him off the dribble more than Kyrie could. I mean, obviously, one has better handles, but one's a better shooter. So I feel like that's not too much of a difference. LeBron's playing some of the best basketball of his career. That's not changing. He seems determined. I feel like I'd take LeBron over KD right now, and I feel right now with the Warriors, they don't have that certain pop, and they don't have that depth that the Cavs have right now. And Jay Crowder isn't going to play bad basketball like he's playing like this right now. Obviously, he has the talent right there. He's playing terribly. I feel like that's more of an anomaly than anything. You look at Kyle Korver. Kyle Korver finally found a shot, and if he's able to do this in the playoffs, watch out, league. LeBron
Finally found his
James
shot.
dropping.
The man who's like one of the
No,
best.
but I'm saying like last year he lost a shot, and
Yeah, for a
obviously,
little bit,
when he came over from the Cavs, he had a shot. He was shooting like
Fire.
60% from 3. But this is
Hot
different.
sauce.
I mean, right now, if he's able to find a shot consistently and
Yeah.
be that in the playoffs, watch out,
one of the
league.
scariest,
LeBron's gonna
12
drop
point scores in the league.
35, 15, and 15 again.
Yeah.
I feel like they have the firepower. You have, especially if D Rose comes back. I mean, you get rid of your boy Osman, Ceedi. But you're gonna have D Rose to go off of as well. I feel like the talent's there with or without a trade. I feel like it's too thin of a team. The Warriors are. I feel like obviously it's all there. Steph, Clay, KD, Draymond, but it's too thin of a team. And I'm not
all I'm replaying in my mind right now is just KD over LeBron.
different team.
I know, different teams on both sides.
And
but
it's a different LeBron monster. I feel.
He's gotten better. Think about that.
33.
He's gotten better.
This might be his last chance, too.
But if he continues up with it,
I know it's crazy to say, but this is when players start to
usually
decline.
normal.
I know
players,
it's not. I know it's LeBron. It's different, but I'm saying this is usually when players start to decline. So if we're going with normal world, I know this is not a normal world, whether it's sports or politics or LeBron James. Obviously, it's not a normal world anymore, but still. In a normal world, this is probably should be LeBron's last chance to do it.
Yeah.
So, I'm calling it.
okay.
Bold. I like it though, Sean.
In
I like
7.
it. I like it.
At the Oracle.
We'll see.
Taking them down.
We'll see.
Book it. Let us know in the comments down below what Isaiah Thomas brings to the Cleveland Cavaliers in your mind. Do you feel like he makes them the best team in the East for sure? Ricky is not sure. He's saying the Celtics are a better team in his mind. And then obviously...
However, I still like the Cavs to beat the Celtics in a best.
Yeah, but you're saying on paper.
Yeah, on paper.
Let us know on paper, does Isaiah Thomas make him a better team than the Cavs? Dave and I disagree, but hey, we usually disagree. We usually agree, and we usually disagree with Ricky. Let us know in the comments down below what you think of Isaiah Thomas coming to the Cavs, what he brings to him, and then also let us know any thoughts on the podcast. Final thoughts. If you want to buy a shirt, link is in the description. Not the link. The instructions in the description. Let us know. Also, patreon.com/mostvaluable-podcast. If you want to be on a podcast, check out the $10 tier. But we also got some cool ones like $2 tier where you get exclusive monthly Patreon podcasts and also rate this podcast on iTunes. 5 stars. Primetime Podcast, the Onside Kick, the Rick and Johnny Podcast, and obviously the Fast Break. We'd love you so much if you did so. Also, if you listen on Blog Talk Radio, big shout out to you. You guys, we need to shorten it, make it quicker. We need to make it like the 3 L's.
Mine is I'm getting in a groove with it. You just got to get your groove, Sean.
That was a groove?
You just got to get
That was one breath.
That was a groove. That was one breath. I got it. Anyways, for Ricky Widmer, for Dave Oster, I'm Sean Anderson. We'll see you next time.